All right, Bill Mathews up here. We're trying to do an abbreviated programmability. He's on the way this morning. That fog is bad out there.
Take extra time.
You know, even in our neighborhood yesterday, they had water over the road things up because you pull in, it's just everywhere.
Yeah. I had to travel to Huntsville yesterday. I had to go over there for a loan closing at a bank. And I made sure I stayed on the main roads. A lot of times when I go, I'll take the back roads. I'll go down. You know.
Hey, let me ask you, speaking of a closing, if somebody's closing a house and the owner of that property is paying, the seller is paying the closing costs, yet the other people want to close it, who determines where that closes?
Basically, the way that works is typically the person, the buyer can choose.
Okay.
But if the seller offers to pay any of the closing costs, then that money is determined. That goes to pay for the attorney. So if the seller's paying for part of the closing costs, the seller gets to pick the attorney.
Oh, good.
So
okay, good.
if you want to pick your attorney, you're the buyer.
Okay.
Then you've got to pay all the closing costs. If the seller's going to pay anything, then they're going to go to the attorney they like, and that works for me sometimes and it works against me sometimes. But yesterday that actually came up, and there's a sale and it's an estate, and the buyer wanted to use a certain attorney, but the seller's paying the closing costs, so they chose to use me.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that similar deal is happening to us on a piece of property, but they wanted to go because the other agent wanted to use somebody else.
Right.
So I just want to make sure we can do that.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. Y'all can choose. You can choose whoever you want to. If you're
since we're paying
even a portion of the closing costs.
Any portion of it.
Yeah, any portion.
Okay, great. That's good to know.
Yeah.
Good. We'll see you soon.
Okay.
All right. Well, good. We'll take care of that
today
before closing. Yeah, we'll go there. All right. As we talk up here a lot, and thank you for being with us. The coaches aren't here today, but Bill's been part of the football thing here and continues on here. You do, when we say you do everything, we literally mean you take care of everything from, if you were involved in an accident yesterday, instead of calling a billboard attorney, you might want to consider calling Bill Mathews, because, you've got the staff, you can handle all that too.
Yeah. Those billboard attorneys, they get so many phone calls, and it's, I think it's just convenient for people. You're driving down the road, you see it, and you call it. It also happens when you're sitting at home and you're watching TV and you're hurt.
They're spending a lot of money.
Yeah, they're spending a lot of money.
But they're not making you as much money as you deserve.
Well, I do know, and I did get I get personal injury cases, but I know they get most of them because they advertise so much. But I have had a case where they went with a billboard attorney, and that attorney tried to settle the case for $25,000 and just tried to sell it fast.
Right.
Well, if the lawyer sells for $25,000, they get a percentage of that. Usually it's a third or something, 40%.
Yeah.
So they settled it fast. They were going to settle it fast. Well, the person that was injured went out and got a second opinion. He came and saw me, and we met, and then that case ended up going for over $200,000. And the whole thing,
big of a difference?
Right. The whole thing about it is a lot of people that are in accidents, like if you're in an accident, a lot of people have they'll have a neck surgery over a year after the accident.
And it's related to it.
Yeah, and it's related to it. It's because of the accident. But see,
once you settle it, it's done.
Once you settle, it's done. It's not like a workers' comp.
Can't go back.
With a workers' comp, you get the medicals for your life. But with a car accident case, you really don't want to settle it fast. You really want to wait. You want to wait 6 months to a year, and you want to go through physical therapy. When you go through physical therapy, the doctors are the therapists, they'll push on you, they'll pull on you, they'll stretch you, and if you're hurt, like if you've got a little fracture in your neck and you need surgery, when they do that, the pain will be intense. And so by doing that, you find out, hey, I need to have surgery. This isn't gonna ever get well, and I need to make sure that I don't let it heal improperly. You go ahead and have the surgery. So all these Hollywood type lawyers, they're really the ones that are pushing for you to settle your case fast are doing a disservice, because in a personal injury case, you do not need to settle it fast.
Makes sense.
And you have no recourse
after you settle.
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah.
Well,
I just think they need that money right away. But
sometimes I think people, they may not think of you when there's an injury involved in something like, because you do, you've been stressing wheels a lot lately, and Joe even said he's coming back, even though Joe's, he's almost what, 60 or
He's
70.
Joe's the picture of health.
Yeah, just talk to him about it.
How do you make pizza all day and remain that thin?
Yeah, he remained that because he takes RPM class with us every morning.
He's really a sex symbol to the
He is.
pizza community.
People come in. What else does your office do, Bill, right there on the corner of the square?
Well, like we've already talked about loans, and that's kind of always been my emphasis throughout the years. But I've diversified, and of course, being in a small town, and then, with the loans, with the real estate, you go over to the probate office, and so you search those records. Well, wills as part of that. I have to know how to look at wills, and then also just, probating estates. So anything probate, I do a whole lot of that. Well, then in addition to that, I'm also one of the attorneys that's approved by the Department of Human Resources. So I handle child support for the Department of Human Resources. And then through that, I have lots of domestic cases. So I do a lot of divorce. I do a lot of uncontested divorce, and then I do a lot of contested divorce. So I do those things a lot. I do a little bit of criminal, but if it's a pretty serious case, then I'm probably gonna.
There's a lot of criminal attorneys in this
I'm probably gonna get you to call Dan Totten. I may call Dan Totten while you're sitting there in my office and talk to him. But one thing about it is, different lawyers have different personalities, and lawyers, like for example, I may charge $50 for a consultation, but most of the time I probably don't charge anything. And so if you come see me, it's good because you could get my opinion as to what I think you should do, and I would direct you to an attorney if I can't do it that I would recommend, and that goes because I'm walking into that courthouse. I'm either trying cases, or I'm seeing other attorneys try cases. I'm watching. I'm seeing verdicts. I'm seeing how things handle, and so I can kind of tell you which attorney is a good attorney, and which attorney, what they're in it for. Some attorneys are all attorneys are in it to make a living because we got to pay bills. But some attorneys emphasize that more, and some attorneys really care about what they do.
You know where I'm come to the conclusion that most attorneys in Athens eat, and I saw another one in there this week. Joe's Famous Pizzeria, because I saw Tom